Starting live. Wait until I see an eyeball. See if someone's here. And now my husband's texting me.
Of course he is.
Okie dokie. Let's see. Say hi, Marlene.
Hi, Marlene. Oh, hi, everybody. Hi, Marlene.
Happening now. Perfect. Okay.
Awesome.
And I see Charlie.
Morning. Okay.
All right. The old switcheroo. Okie doke. Hi.
Hi, Charlie.
Nice and warm.
I warmed it up for
I
you.
was cold this
Chris.
morning. Doing orders is hard work. All right. Well, hold on. Before we get started, there's a box under my feet that's in my way. Let me move this. Ugh, okay. All right. Here we are. We're back. It's Friday. I'm going to give everybody a couple seconds. We'll see who's here. Is everything loading for you?
It is.
You're good?
Yeah,
Awesome.
it is.
So it's just Marlene and I today because Miss Barbara is homesick. That's what she says anyway.
That's right.
It's kind of funny that it's the Friday before a holiday weekend, don't you think?
Long weekend.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just, I'm sick today. No, we'll take her word for it, I guess. So I've been shipping orders with Marlene all morning, and we've been talking about our dogs. So, you know, normal stuff for us here. So anyway, all right, I'm going to jump right into it. Marlene is on the comments. Just
Marlene's
like
on the comments, but they're missing.
they're missing.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened.
What happened?
Oh,
What they do?
well, hold on.
Whoop.
Hang on, guys. Should be.
Marlene's-
Actually, hold on. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And just like last time, we were having a little bit of a glitch with Facebook. It might be a Marlene glitch. It might be a Facebook thing. If we miss your comment or your question, we will come back to it. But if you have any questions, Marlene will ask me. And I just wanted to give you a couple of quick things before we get into today's topic. If you are ordering anything on the website, and I have no idea if this literally just started today or if you guys have just not noticed it and people are starting to notice it, something changed on my website, and it's not me. I don't change the stuff. It's the interface that it's on. And all the orders now will show shipping charges. However, when you put in your address and you go to the next screen, to the payment or whatever's after your address, it will clear up once it sees that you're United States. I got an email last night, and then somebody emailed me this morning, and then I tried it myself. I've never seen it do that before, but it says shipping, and then once you put in your actual address and go next, it will take the shipping charge away. So shipping is obviously just international customers. I don't know why they've done that. I have no idea when or why that changed, but ignore it. And if for any reason you got charged shipping in the United States, which I have not seen anyone do, and like I said, it was fine for me, just let me know and we'll figure it out. We'll get it all situated. Before we talk today about our topic, which is messy because, well, it's messy in front of me, but also we're going to talk about paint. Marlene, can we share with some of the ladies and gentlemen here about retreats? Because a lot of you who are coming to our bag retreat it's next weekend, have mentioned that this is your first retreat ever. And so just in case you've never been or you're wondering what a retreat is, can you give them like a little, because I know you and Barb have done a lot of retreats, you've traveled for retreats. What's the general thing when you go to a retreat?
You bring your own projects with you, all your supplies, your sewing machine, everything you need.
Just like you were going to sew on at home, but you're going to sew on at home.
Bring it where you're going. And everybody is working on their own projects, but there's a lot of chit-chat and let's see what you're doing and what are you showing us? What are you working on?
Show and tell.
Show and tell.
Show and tell.
Yep.
Do you find that any of the retreats you've been to have given you any kind of project? Or like anything you have to work on? Or like it's just really whatever you want to do?
That was only when we went on the cruise. We had to work on certain projects there. We signed up for different classes.
That makes sense. Okay. So, and that's pretty much going to be the same thing for us. Now, I asked Marlene because she's been to a lot more retreats than I have. I've only been to a handful of them, all by different people, all done a little bit differently. But the general thing that I remember, because it's been a while since I've gone to it, like a real retreat, is, again, bringing all your stuff, working on whatever you want to work on, getting feedback. There's always somebody, and I know in person is going to be different than virtual, but there's always someone that goes, what are you working on? Where'd you get that? Oh, I have that pattern. Those are cool colors. A lot of...
How did you do that?
How'd you do that? What kind of ruler is that? A lot of, like bouncing ideas off of each other and just kind of looking around and seeing what everyone's working on. But I've also been to retreats where they've given us a project, and I think one or two times that they had a project, it was, you don't have to work on it, but if you want to, we're doing it on this day at this time. We are not doing anything like that in the bag retreat. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's whatever you want to work on. So obviously I am the host of the retreat. I sent you guys goodie bags. That is something I've gotten, I think, at every retreat I've ever been to. I've gotten something.
Always.
Something, whether it was something little or something big. I know Barb gave us, like some little things. She always puts something at the seats because Barb hosts retreats. Everyone I've been to, I think, has given us a little something, which is always fun. So that's why I sent you guys goodie bags. And yes, they were personalized because I am over the top, because that is who I am. It is my personality. But I didn't think it was that. I didn't think it was that great. And Barb said, "What did you send them?" I said, "I don't, just normal stuff, I guess." But I wanted you guys to really enjoy, and be immersed into it, even though we can't be with each other. But we'll be on screen, and you are going to work on whatever you want to work on. I prefer that you're working on my bag patterns, but I understand you might have another bag pattern you want to work on. Just remember, we cannot answer those questions. I cannot attest to someone else's patterns and how they write them, but maybe you're stuck on something and someone else says, "Oh, actually, I know that pattern," and you guys can chat with each other. If it's my pattern, I am there to help you out. It is not a formal class. I will not be going step by step with anybody through any pattern. I can't give anybody all the attention. Everybody gets equal attention. There are 19 of you signed up as of today. That does not include the 3 of us.
That's
I know.
great.
I was a little blown away by that too. The original group stayed the original group for a while, and I just figured, okay, that's our group. And then people started adding in last week, and then someone said they might be joining again this week. So I opened 30 spots. So that means we have 11 spots left, possibly 10 if this last person signs up. But this is my first time. Be gentle. I'm going to do the best that I can. We're going to have fun. We're going to have prizes. That's not something that's at every retreat, but it's something I wanted to do for you guys, some little, giveaways. And that's it. So just get your stuff ready. The best advice I can give you if you've never been to a retreat, and I'm sure you can attest to this, the ones I went to where I've gotten a lot done are the ones that I prepared for ahead of time. Because I don't want to be standing there trying to figure out what I want to do, and in person having to wait for an ironing board or a cutting mat. At home, you don't have to worry about that. But I am way more productive if I have bags all set and ready to go. And I get them cut and I put them in plastic bags. So have you ever gone to a retreat and not had an idea what you're going to work on?
Yes.
And did you feel like you got anything done?
Sometimes I did, and we were fortunate enough that there was quilt shops nearby, and we were able to run out and get something if we needed it.
Right.
So,
and that's always nice when you're at a retreat where there's somewhere local that you can go. So sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes if they're hosted by a shop, they'll bring stuff to the retreat. And then, of course, there's so much unnecessary shopping because it's in front of you. So I just want to talk about that just for a couple, just a little quick intro if you've never been to a retreat. I hope that this is the first and we'll do more. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to set up over there, but that's on me. So we'll get
Charlie
that all figured.
Has a comment.
Yeah.
No reason to waste retreat time cutting things out. He likes to have everything cut out ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I went to a retreat a while back with some friends. Right. It was, it was still a distance for me. They lived in the Pittsburgh area, and I went, and I was just so busy before the retreat that I was like, I'm obviously going to make some bags, but I don't know what. And I just threw a ton of stuff in my car. I think I made 2 things that whole time, and then I just kept making the same boxy pouch over and over because I didn't have anything. I didn't have my patterns with me. The internet wasn't great. It was just, I felt like I wasted my time. I ate and drank. That was about all that I accomplished. I didn't really get anything done. The last retreat, when I cut stuff out and had it fused and cut and ready to go, I got so much stuff done. Actually, there's a picture of it on Instagram that you guys have probably seen because it popped up again in my memories.
I saw it.
I had all that stuff cut and ready to go. That is why I got stuff done. So, not that it really affects you guys too much, but Monday is a holiday. We are closed. I am taking 3 days to hang out at home and get hopefully a lot of stuff done. So we will obviously not be shipping orders on Monday. They will be shipped on Tuesday. So if you order anything over the weekend, it will go out on Tuesday because the post office is closed. So that's it. Nothing really major came in this week. We're still waiting on some stuff to come in and have some things on order. So today, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was painting on cork, but also I hope you guys are excited. Finally, we're going to talk about edge paint. The reason is I finally had a chance to like really get into it. I had been playing with it for a little bit, but hadn't had enough time to really, you know, like try out some different brands and some different tools. And also, I knew that the other topic was not going to be very lengthy because there isn't a ton to tell you about painting on cork, but I brought with me some of my supplies to show you. I'm not going to demo the paint today because I thought that I had something in here and I don't. And I don't have my applicators. And I'll tell you some of the ones that I like to use, and maybe at another time we'll touch base on this topic again and I'll do a demo or I'll make a video for YouTube. So when it comes to painting on cork, and I have been looking for 2 days now, searching for one of my samples that has printed cork that I stamped, and I cannot find it anywhere. I probably put it away. What would happen a lot of times is I would bring that sample to shows, and everybody would say, do you have that cork? And I'm like, no, I stamped that cork. Oh, well, did you stamp any? No, I made that sample. I got tired of answering it, so I put it away, and it's probably still put away somewhere. So a little history on how I got into painting on cork, which I don't do as much as I used to just because I haven't really had a lot of time, but it's very relaxing for me to stamp on cork. Years ago, I was at a quilt show and I was vending, and when you're a vendor, especially when you're alone and you can't leave your booth a lot and wander around, you get friendly with your neighbors and you get to know the products that they're selling, and you end up buying those products. And across from me were these two very sweet women from Pro Chemical and Dye. They're based out of Massachusetts, and we just happened to talk, and I kept looking at their booth and thinking, that looks like really cool stuff that you have, but I don't dye fabrics. Like, it's not my cup of tea. Maybe you do. If you do, tell us. I'd love to know, you know, what you think about it. I had a friend who used to dye fabrics. They were pretty, but it wasn't my thing. It's not something I'm going to spend my time doing. And they sell all that kind of stuff, the dyes and all the chemicals and things that you need. But I kept looking over at this bin on the table with things like this, these like stamps. And I was like, I don't know what those are, but I'm intrigued by them. They're really pretty, and I want to play with those. So I ended up buying from them a little kit with little jars of paint. There was like a dozen different colors and a bunch of these stamps, and it sat in the corner. I remember it was over there underneath an old bookshelf, sat in the corner for several years. I don't know why I bought it, but I bought it and I never used it. And then as I would see them at shows, I would walk by their booth and they'd have more and more of these stamps in different colors. And I finally just said, I'm going to see if I can do this on cork, because cork was not something I had when I first met them. And so I grabbed some of these stamps and started playing and loved how it looked on cork. And there was actually a show a couple years after that where I stamped a bunch of pieces and sold them, these hand stamped, you know, original ones, because it was just something relaxing for me to do. One of the best tips I will give you is don't paint when you have a puppy. Ask me how I know that. We have dog prints on the back of our couch and one of our quilts because my dog stepped in the paint and walked across the couch. So that's okay. It's unique. It's one of a kind. But I brought with me 2 of my bins. There's more. So I'll show you kind of briefly. This is one of my paint boxes. There's tons of paint colors in here. But what I buy from them is the ProFab paint, and it's a fabric paint. So you can use this on any fabric. I just happen to use it on cork. And they have pearlescent ones. They have translucent ones, which don't do a lot. Yes.
Charlie, he says, I love the Pro Chem booth. I keep buying their dye kits. Never use them, but I have a half dozen.
What is it about these women? And they're so funny. And I just end up like, hi, I'm back. And what was happening? This is the worst thing. What was happening is we kept getting placed really close to each other at shows. We weren't asking for it, but it just kept happening. And so when they're right there, I'd take a break, I'd run over, and they would start a basket for me. So by the end of the show, I had no idea what I bought. Oddly enough, over all of the years, I have only duplicated 1 stamp. How great is that? Yeah. And it was one that I really liked anyway, so I was like, well, that's fine. I don't mind having 2. But yeah, and the colors, for the most part, I don't duplicate. But these are the ones that I buy. This is a transparent paint. I don't use this one as much because it doesn't have enough opacity to me. I like the opaque ones, which these seem to be all pearlescent. I might have organized them that way because I love the pearlescent ones because they give you just a little bit of a shimmer. And you guys know I'm glitzy. I like shimmer. Actually, I guess more of some of these are transparent. So they're going to be a little bit lighter. They're not quite as opaque. But I do have lots of the pearlescent ones. And these little jars, these are 3 ounces. The little tiny ones, the 2 ounce, usually come in kits. So that's why I have some of those. But the 3 ounce jars, depending on what type you buy, they're like $4 to $5. So you can get tons of colors. You get a lot of stuff in here. And what I have is this little sample here. And I'll show you the stamps too. I just kind of painted this to show you how it looks. So you could see it on a big piece. And I actually might cut this out and do something with it. But these are just like 3 of the pearlescent purples, just kind of painted together. It's still very flexible. It's very soft. It's not cracking. If you are artistic, which I am not, and you like to do paintings and, I don't know, landscapes, dogs, whatever, you can paint and customize your purses. Have you ever seen those bags and wallets that are like hand painted? Mm-hmm. You could do that. I do not do that. I am not a painter. I am a stamper. I don't paint. That's my level right there. But this is one of the bins. There's so many of them. This is one of many. There are some that I haven't even opened yet of these stamps, and their stamps come from India, and they're all handmade. And they're a little like imperfect, but I love that because they
remind me similar of the stamps used for the batiks, the chop.
Yes, they kind of look similar to a chop, but a chop is metal. That's what they stamp the wax on to batiks, but it has that similar feel.
Yeah.
And some of the batiks are made in that same area, so it does make sense. But I have collected these over the years. See, here's a brand new one. Haven't dirtied that. And you may notice that there's these are all different colors because I don't clean the paint off of them.
I was just going to say, how do you clean them?
Well, if you're smart and you're not a lazy person like myself, as you're going, you get a damp, soapy paper towel or a sponge, and you keep cleaning them as you go. Or you do like I do, and you just let the paint sit there and discolor it.
Charlie has a question. Do
Yes.
you have to heat set them?
No, you do not. I have not heat set any of these. Again, I don't wash my bags. I don't, throw them in, and like I might hand wash or spot clean. I'm sure that there's information on the website that might address that, but I have never heat set. And the sample that I had, which I really wish I could find for you guys, that went around for years at shows. It was touched, it was handled, it was shipped. It never affected it. And I think what appealed to people on that sample, I know it was this flower because of the colors. I did a purple and a pink, and I just kind of rolled it on so that it was like a 2-tone flower, and then I did a little gold in the background. And when it comes to the tools, they sold me some of their favorite tools, which I liked, but I ended up finding that I liked something else better. So what I bought, excuse me, when I originally bought the paint was a little foam roller. And Anne, who does a lot of their demos, loved the foam roller. And for some of it, I did. For certain stamps, I didn't find that I was getting enough product, like it wasn't evenly distributed. I liked it on certain things. What I actually found was from another vendor were these little like daubers. They're like black plastic with the little sponge, and I like those, especially for the small ones. So those are the 2 that I seem to use the most.
Christina wants to know if you can use rubber stamps.
I was thinking that this morning, and I don't see why not. The only thing I would say, I'm sorry, is sometimes rubber stamps are not very, they're not cut in very deeply. They're like very shallow in the design. Make sure that it's something that's actually going to show up and that you don't get too much paint on it, because what can happen, and it happens with these too, these are cut a little bit deeper than a rubber stamp. This is why I do not like dunking in paint. It gets blobby in between, and then you end up making a mess. Make sure that you're just getting just enough product on, and test it. Test it on a piece of paper, on something before you put it on the cork. Remember, your cork has a texture to it, especially if you're using like the textured natural, like this one. If you're stamping on this that has a texture to it, your stamp is not going to be evenly distributed across the cork, and that's okay. It's a different look. If that's not the look that you want and you want something really smooth and even, make sure you use one of the smoother corks. Anything that has texture, you're going to get some little, you know, deposits heavier on one side and lighter on another, if that makes sense, because of the texture. But I don't see why you couldn't use rubber stamps. I know that I used to have a ton of them when I used to do scrapbooking. I don't even know if I still have them anymore, but I would just test the paint out, test some different applications and try it like on a piece of paper to see what gives you a nice even stamping. But I will do a better video when I have the tools. I opened this up and I was mad at myself because I did not bring what I needed. But man, there's a lot of stuff in here.
Carol wants to know, have you ever used Stazon ink?
I do not know that one. I am not familiar with Stazon. Now I'm going to have to go buy more stuff, Carol. I have not tried that, so I will have to try that out. This is just the one that I tried that I know really, works really well, and it's another, small business that I'm supporting, so I really like that, and I know them. I've gotten to know them, and I really like supporting their business, and I miss them. They're one of the vendors that I miss seeing because I haven't been out and about in so long. So I will look into that, and I will see if that's an ink that works too. Like I said, these are just fabric paints, so they use them on all different things, on canvases, on cottons. They had some silk scarves that they had done. I work in Cork, so I wanted to try it on Cork, and I know that these paints and stamps work on Cork. So that was very brief, but I will do a better demo because my video studio, not that one. We're not going to talk about that one. That one is on hold because of the lumber price. But whatever. Anyway, it's okay. It's on hold temporarily. It's still getting used because my husband keeps buying used vehicles to store in there. Thank you, honey. I'm so glad that I can make your day. So I actually set up in my basement yesterday, and I'm just waiting on a couple more things to come in, but it's temporary. I just keep reminding myself it's a dusty old basement, but it's temporary, and I will be able to get more videos done, so I might even try to get some done this weekend. We'll see. Yes.
Teresa wants to know if you can stamp on vinyl.
I don't see why you couldn't, because vinyl is a non-porous material like cork. I'm so sorry. I have allergies and they're horrible right now. They're making my throat dry. I don't see why you couldn't stamp on vinyl. Again, everything, and just like they say on products, all those warnings that I tend to bypass, but I will tell you, try it out in a corner. Try it on a sample piece just to make sure that it actually works before you end up getting too deep into anything. If you can take a little scrap of vinyl or, a little bit of, a fabric that you can kind of try it out and see how it works, a test strip is not a bad thing to do. And then, just kind of play. And I'll tell you, I have played with these and I have made pieces that I have loved, that I have been obsessed with, like, oh, those colors, everything works great. And I've made pieces that I thought were meh, they were okay. I even let my husband play. That was funny because he said, what do I do? And he just sat there and started stamping, and then it became black by the time he was done. It was just a blob. He got a little carried away, but just kind of play around and see what happens, and don't be afraid. Try out some little scraps. I don't know about you, but I don't throw any of my scraps out, and then you can try out some of the colors and different things. Did you have another question?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was brief, I know, but I was more excited today to talk to you about edge paints. So, did I just move the camera? I might have. Sorry, guys. Also, there is a cricket in this office that keeps chirping. It's driving me crazy. It's been here since this morning. So, let's talk about edge paint. I have been playing around with this for a few weeks now. I showed you guys a long time ago that I had ordered some edge paints and was trying them out. And I wanted to really take my time and do some research, do some different samples, try them out so I could show you guys what I thought. Now, I will preface this by saying I am not an edge paint expert, okay? I am by no means an expert. I do not claim to be. There are some amazing videos that you can find on YouTube. I watched a lot of them just to kind of see what people do. Some of these paints didn't really come with explicit instructions. Some of them did. So I watched a lot of videos and some little clips here and there from other bag makers and, pattern designers. And I saw what they were doing and I tried some things out. I tried some things out on my own that I want to show you. And I just kind of followed their instructions. So this is just my findings. Do not take this as, Bible here. There are people that do a much better job of this, that are much more versed in this. but this is just what I have found from it. And one quick thing before I get into edge paint, because I just happened to look over. Do you remember last week we were talking about our beeswax and our leather honey? I'm going to tell you that I think that that was just a waste of money and I would not recommend it. Does it work on leather? Probably. I haven't tried it, but you remember I put some on my purse handle? It doesn't look any different. I wasn't expecting miracles. I didn't think it was going to clean the dirty, dirty handle, but I wanted to see if it made any difference. It looks the same as it did before I put it on. So I'm thinking that leather conditioners on Cork don't really do anything. I wouldn't waste my money. Yes.
Do you have a schedule of your videos on the website?
Like which ones are coming up next? I don't.
Karen.
And I'll tell you why. because I have
no from 1 minute to the next.
Things change from one day to the next. I have a list in my phone of ideas that we've come up with, ideas that you guys have emailed me. I have a folder in my email whenever you guys send me an email and say, hey, could you do this or could you talk about this again? And they kind of fit in when they need to. If it's been an absolutely crazy week and I haven't had enough time to prep anything, I go to that list of like, what's an easy thing that doesn't require prep? When it's something that takes prep work, I am usually working on that for weeks on end. I will give you a little preview of next week because I know what next week is. I have a new pattern to share with you next week. And the reason that you can't have it right now is because I am still working on a few more samples and I'm going to show you guys. I've saved everything from day one of this pattern to show you how it's played out so you can see again into my brain on how things work. I knew that this was coming up because I have a little surprise for you planned for next weekend. That's in addition to the bag retreat. So if you're not in the bag retreat, that's okay. It applies to you as well. But I have a little bonus that I was planning on doing. And so I knew that it was going to be next week. So I just had to fill in these weeks. And last week, I didn't know what I was going to do until one of you said, can you paint on cork? And I was like, done. That's what we're talking about. So no, there will probably never be a list because I am not that organized and I never will be.
And he said you're a tease.
I am a tease. I am. I'm also working on something else that maybe I'll show you too. I don't know. So that's all. So anyway, yes, I can't plan to save my life. I try. I would say out of a month, maybe one of the weeks has planning behind it and the rest of it just happens. So that's how it goes. So, and in addition to that, I have noticed this about myself that lately I have not been telling you guys on Facebook what we're going to talk about on Friday. Do you want that little preview or do you want to just come here on Fridays and whatever happens, happens? Because I can, if I know, like on Tuesday or Wednesday, I can say, hey guys, we're talking about edge paint on Friday. I don't sometimes because I forget, but if you want me to do that, I could do that for you. It will not be planned out further than like 3 days in advance. So just so you know. Okay, so let's get into edge paint and all of the things that I have learned. So I watched a few videos and I did a lot of research. I read different things on websites. I Googled some different things and I ended up buying 2 different types of edge paint. So if you're not familiar and you're wondering what is edge paint, it is exactly what it sounds like, and it is a specialized paint that you put on the edge of your raw edge of cork. So I tested it out on the ginger wallet, which has raw edges. I tested it on a handle. I did it on a little business card holder, and I'll get into what I tried on each of those and what I found worked and didn't work. And if you are into edge paint or if you've heard anything about it, chances are the thing that you have heard about the company is Giardini. Giardini. It, to me, being New York, it's Giardini, but it's Giardini. Marlene's Italian, so I'm taking her word for it. Giardini is probably the most well-known and the most out there of the paints. Not always easy to find. We'll talk about that. But I would say this is probably the #1 edge paint that you're going to hear about. Being the Amazon shopper that I am, I also found some on Amazon, and I thought, why not try it out? Because you never know. So I found this, which is Angelus.
Yeah, Angelus.
Angelus, spelled angel us. I found it's probably got some fancy pronunciation.
It's not angel dust.
It's not angel dust. No. I found this on Amazon. So we're going to go over what I found, the prices, and all that good stuff. So I tested both of them out simultaneously to see, is there really a difference in the higher quality one and in the higher priced one? Because we've talked about this with lots of things. We've talked about it with cork, with thread, with fabric, that you are going to get different levels and different grades of these products. We talked about it a few weeks ago with cork. And there is cork out there that's even cork from reputable, quote unquote, reputable sellers that isn't the same quality as other cork. There's thread, there's Coates and Clark, there's Aurifil. Is there a big difference between them? There's fabric at quilt shops and fabric at Joann's. Is there a big difference? And I think that absolutely there is a big difference, but I think that there's also exceptions. And here's a prime example. I have nothing against Joann's. Do not think that I do. I am not knocking anybody that shops there at all. But here's the thing. When I walk into a quilt shop, or if I shop online at a reputable quilt shop, like Fat Quarter Shop, or somewhere like that, that I know is a legit quilt shop, and they're buying from the vendors that I buy from, and they're buying high-end fabric, I know I'm getting quality. I know that my Free Spirit and my Robert Kaufman and my Andover, I know that those are high-quality quilt shop fabric. When I go into Joann's, it's all over the map because there's different types of fabric. There's dressmaking fabric, there's quilting fabric. And some of you have made amazingly gorgeous things out of Joann's fabric. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it has to be the right one. And somebody not that long ago had posted a gorgeous bag on Joann's, on the Facebook group. And everybody was like, where did you get that fabric? And she said she got it from Joann's and it was gorgeous. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get some low quality things from that same store, but they do also have high quality. When I go to a quilt shop, it's across the board. I'm not sketchy about picking out any fabric that they have. When I go to a box store, I'm going to be very careful about which ones I get. I don't want ones that are going to fray and fall apart and, thin fabric. And you can find that there as well. So I wanted to know, do I have to get Giardini? Do I have to get this more expensive brand, which everybody talks about? Or is there a less expensive option that maybe I'm not getting deep into this, but I want to play around with edge paint? And I think the brand that I found is okay. I would say it's like 80%. I don't think I can see the difference. I don't think it's as good, but I think it's a pretty good substitute. So here's some of the things that I found. Let me lay out some of the information. Okay, I'm just going to grab a jar of each. So, yes, we have a question.
Nancy said, I have tried several and I love the Giardini. The key is the base coat and the sand between layers. Very nice finish. I also like the matte and glossy finishes that are available.
And now I don't have to tell you anything because
She
Nancy
just
told
did.
you all of it.
Perfect.
I'm gonna reiterate a lot of the stuff that Nancy said because she's absolutely right, 100% right. So, just to give you an idea, again, I am not an expert. I am just telling you my opinions because I have so many of them. The Giardini, you can buy box sets of these. You can get different sets of the colors. If you're going to get deep into this and you are going to start finishing all of your stuff, I would say get one of the box sets because you're going to get a whole variety of colors. They're going to be obviously more expensive because you're buying an entire set together. Giardini has in the regular colors, these just regular opaque colors, there's like 20 colors. Then they also have neons. They had some pearl essence, some like metallic-y ones. They have a beautiful selection. If you are not going to do this a lot, if you're new to it, you just want to get a couple, which I only grabbed 3 of the Giardini. I grabbed a blue and a pink because they were pretty. I didn't really need them. And I got a beige because I knew it would go with the cork. If you're not going to be doing this a lot, you don't have to buy the entire box set. But most of the time when you buy a box set of something, you do get some kind of an incentive, like a little bit of a discount, or you might get something included with it. If you are really big into this and you're like, I want to edge paint everything, look into the box sets. You can find them at different places. I bought all of my Giardini supplies from Buckle Guy, buckleguy.com.
Nancy said, can you write that down? LOL. I want my kids to know I was right once. LOL.
Yes, absolutely. I will send an email. I will sign it, and you can tell your kids that. No, Nancy made amazing points, and that's why I don't want to take away and plagiarize what she said, but I'm going to anyway. So I only bought a few jars from Giardini. Now, I bought an entire bag of the Angelus. The reason is because it's the only way that they sold it. They do have like other colors and bigger jars, but to get this selection, I bought it. Here's the thing. am I going to be using this gorgeous yellow? Probably never. It's probably never going to get open. You all know how I feel about red. I'm probably not going to open the red one up. There's certain colors in here that I don't really need. And from what I read in the reviews, it's kind of a crapshoot. Somebody said, I didn't get the colors that they pictured. I got different colors. Someone else said, I got 2 of the same one. So you're talking about an Amazon bulk deal. So I just kind of took it for what it was. If I'm going to get into this and really start doing edge paint, I am going to buy the Giardini. I'm just going to say that right now. Nothing wrong with this, but I do like that one a little bit better. So let's talk about price, and then we'll get into what you need to do your prep work with. So these jars are almost the same size. This is 30 milliliters for the Giardini, and the Angelus is 29.5, so they are essentially the same. This is just a regular jar of the paint, nothing special about it. The Angelus has a brush tip. We'll talk about that too. If this means anything to you, it comes with like a little like nail polish brush tip. I don't find it useful myself, but somebody else might. The Giardini by themselves, the small jars, and they have 3 sizes, I think. So if there's a color that you're going to use a lot, you can get a bigger one. I forget what the sizes were, but for these were $6.88 a piece on Buckle Guy. This bag
Nancy said she loves Buckle Guy.
I love Buckle Guy. I don't know Buckle Guy, but I like him.
She says, I do have basics and mix and love Buckle Guy.
Buckle Guy is great. So props to Buckle Guy. I don't know anybody there. They have great customer service though, because I got a tracking number that was wrong, and when I tracked it, it said, you're not getting this package, and I got really concerned because I paid for expedited shipping because I forget to do things a lot. And they said, oh, no, we're sorry, we made a mistake, here it is, and like email me back in 10 minutes. They were amazing. So props to Buckle Guy. The 12 pack of the Angelus was $31.36 on Amazon, so $2.61 a piece. There is a significant price difference, but you will see why. Yes.
Bobby wants to know, can you blend the colors to match the colors better?
I knew somebody was going to ask me that.
But Nancy said she has basics and mix.
Yes. I have not seen anything that says I can't, but nobody has really talked about doing it. But it's the edge paint is an acrylic leather paint, so I see no reason why you can't mix them. And that's actually something I wanted to try myself just to make sure, but I don't see why you could not mix them. So what Nancy had mentioned, and she is absolutely 100% right, and I will show you, I will prove that she is right for her and her children and everyone else. The most important part of your edge paint is your base coat. And let me tell you a story about this jar of base coat.
It's just like doing your nails.
It is. If you don't have, it's like priming your walls when you paint them. It's going to take, but it's not going to look as nice if you don't have that base coat down. And the base coat is very important. And it's very important that you do it evenly. This base coat was out of stock everywhere. I don't know. There was a high demand for Giardini base coat. I had to order this from Canada. The jar cost me as much as the shipping, and it took forever to get to me. It was $22 for this jar and $22 for the shipping. Geez. So I will be base coating a lot of things until this $22 jar is empty. I did not look up what the price was on Buckle Guy, but they were out of stock for a long time. So I had to order this from Canada. Thank you to my northern neighbors. I hate that our shipping is so expensive between us. It does not make sense. But the base coat is the key. And what you're going to do with the base coat, you may have to do several layers. Chances are you are going to do several layers. I have found that I was doing 2 to 3 layers to get a nice base. And I'll show you some of the samples that I have. I know it's not going to pick up as well on camera, but I'll kind of walk you through the base coat process. And last but not least, they also have top coats. And I did buy both top coats. I have the glossy and I have the matte. And when I say matte, this is matte. It is like chalky matte. I showed Marlene because it's easier to see up front than up close than on a camera. That is matte. So if you like matte, they have matte. So let's talk about the process. In order to put your paint and your base coat and your top coat on, what you want to get is a tool like this. You don't want to use a paintbrush. I did find that in using a paintbrush, I tried it out, it was sloppy. And it also is going to absorb the product, which means it's not going to be even. This is a metal pointed tool, and it has like little grooves in it, so it moves back and forth. And you're just going to be taking this and rolling your paint across. We talked about this too, why I'm not allowed to use spray paint, because I like to spray it all on at once. Thin, even coats. Thin, even coats. I had to keep reminding myself that. So you're going to take your base coat, and you're going to take your brush. This is your brush, your tool, and you're going to put it on your edge. The cork is going to absorb some of your first layer. So your first layer is basically just to kind of start sealing that edge. It's not going to do a whole lot for you. Then you're going to put on a second coat, and then possibly a third coat. And what you want to make sure is before you get started, make sure that your edges are smooth. If you have little threads, if you have little bumpy edges, trim them. Make this as clean as possible. Put on your coat, sand it a little bit. And I did not have sandpaper, so I used my nail file, which worked okay, but I would probably tell you to use regular sandpaper. This is one of those glass files. Wasn't the best, but you make do in a pinch. Put on another coat, sand it. And if you have to, just keep sanding. You want this to be smooth, because the smoother that this is, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It matters what it feels like. The smoother that this is, the better that your paint's going to look when it's done. Because I have another side on this one, and I was just trying to get the effect and see how many coats it was taking, and I did not sand in between, and I didn't make this smooth, and it could look better. There's an edge down here that I'm happy with. This I'm not, but it's just my sample. I'm just playing with it. So you definitely want to take your time with your edge coat. Give it about a half hour in between layers. Give it about a half hour, sand it if you need to, do another layer. And when you're using this, you're just going to dip this in, and I will paint for you, so I'll show you. You're just going to dip it in, tap off a little bit of the excess, and just roll it on. Roll on nice thin layers. So when we were talking before about the little brush that the Angelus comes with, I did try it. But again, it was kind of messy. So the brush to me, and they even say on here, brush is for touch-ups only, because you can use this to like paint on things. The brush, to me, I didn't need it. I would snap it off if I was going to keep using these just to get it out of the way, because when you forget that you have it on there and you open it, then you get it all over yourself, which I can do anyway. So after you have your edge done, and I did this one, and what do you think that looks like? Like glue, right?
Yes.
So this is sealed, and it just kind of looks like I have like glue, like an opaque glue on there. It's not perfectly smooth. I didn't do a great job, but I put on about 3 layers of edge coat, and I just set it aside and let it dry. They say that you don't want to really be bending it until it's been set for about 24 hours, but I let my wallet sit like this on the table, and I just put it on there, and I left it alone, and I would come back and put more coats on. So I'm going to grab the blue here. Actually, I'm going to grab the pink because you'll see it better, of the Giardini. And you're just going to take your brush, your little applicator, and you dip it in, and you just kind of, I just shake off or tap off the excess. You don't want a ton of excess product because you don't want it to drip. And then you're just going to take this. I'm going to try to stand up and do this. This should end really well. And you're just going to roll. Just roll it across. And I try not to go over and get too much excess on there. I'm just filling in where I didn't sand. And I'm just rolling it on the edge. And it's not great. It doesn't look good because it needs more layers. If I have any on the front or the back, wipe it off immediately and then let that dry for a half an hour and add another coat. The little grooves that are in the tool, even when you wash it, sometimes, hold on. Oh, I don't have a paper towel. All right, that's okay. No, it's okay. Even when you wash it, sometimes you will get a little of the excess inside because it's an acrylic paint. So I use my little seam ripper. Here's a great reason to bring yours out of the bag, Charlie. You haven't used this in fabric yet, but you can use it here. And I use that to just scrape it off once it's dry, because the paint dry is kind of like a plasticky finish, so you can just kind of scrape that off. And I'm just going to leave this and scrape it off later. There we go. Try not to make a giant mess. So after you've gotten all of your layers on, then you can go ahead and you can take your top coat and you can do the same thing. Now the matte top coat, I just wanted to see, because I found that it's not super shiny. This is not horrible when it's dry, but it's a little shiny. So I wanted to see how the matte was. The matte, the best way I can describe it is chalky. It's a very, very matte finish. So if that's something that you're into, which normally I would be, but I actually don't like it. I don't like the matte finish as much as I like the gloss finish. I don't know why, but normally that's where I would go. It's not doing it for me. It's very, very matte. Also on here, I did get some paint on my front and back because I wasn't being careful. It's not coming off. So make sure when your paint is wet that you rub those edges with a paper towel or a tissue or even your finger. If you get it on here, it's gonna dry and it's not gonna come off. Yes.
Carol wants to know what is in the base layer product. She says, I wonder if it is the same product I used to seal the cork on my Birkenstocks.
Well, that's another funny thing.
Cork, it's cork.
The Giardini has no instructions, no ingredients, nothing. It says nothing. It says the name, what it is, the color, and keep from freezing, and then it says something in Italian. They have no instructions at all on here and no ingredients. I'm sure there is online, but it does not say what is in here. It has nothing. And the packaging was just a little bag, which also says nothing. So I do not know what it is made out of, but because I am who I am, I wanted to know if I've already used Fabric Fusion, which we talk about. We've used this for a while now to seal our edges, to make things nice and neat. If I've already sealed something with Fabric Fusion, could I paint on top of it? Because that's a seal, it's a base coat. And I found that the answer was yes. This handle here, this demo piece, was what I had demoed to put the Fabric Fusion on, and then I painted over that. The orange is the Angelus, and the dark pink, which is this one, it does dry a little bit darker than the jar, is the Giardini. They both went on really nicely, and they're not coming off. So I think the Fabric Fusion in a pinch, you could also use if you don't have any base coat, because the base coat was a nightmare to find. So for me, I didn't see a difference either way. And actually, I did a little bit better job on the edges here with the Fabric Fusion than I had with the base coat. So this one's actually pretty smooth. So I found that I could do either one, and it's dry, so it's nice and flexible. So it's a pretty cool product. I am not unhappy that I tried it, but I am also lazy, and I don't sell my bags. So chances are I'm not going to use this much. I might keep some of these for special occasions, you know, for, you know, something I make for my mom or something special, or if I'm just in that kind of mood. For me personally, I am not going to finish everything because I just know that I'm lazy and I'm not selling these. If you're selling bags and you're trying to take your bags up another notch and you want them perfection, you have the cork, you have the hardware, you have all of the time and effort put in, and the only thing you have is that edge on a handle that you want to finish, I think absolutely you could do this. I think it's really, it adds a professional touch. I just know that I am not that person. So I'm very happy I tried it. I absolutely like it. I don't mind the Angelus. This is how I would rate them. If I'm selling something and I want top dollar, I'm going to use the Giardini because it's a little bit smoother, a little bit nicer. If I'm just messing around at home, making something for me, for my mom, a sample, and I want to do something, the Angelus is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I do see a very slight quality difference in the higher quality, more expensive one. And this one smells a little bit. It's not bad, but there's a tiny bit of a paint chemical kind of smell that should not bother most of you, but if you are overly sensitive, it might be a problem. I don't find that this one really smells at all. Nothing that bothered me. Yeah, I mean, it smells like paint. And I did it right here in the office, which really is not ventilated, and I didn't have any issues. This one, I just think it's stronger. It's got like a plasticky paint smell. It's weird. So that's probably one of the things I don't like, the paintbrush, and I don't like that I can't really pick out my colors. I'm kind of stuck with whatever I get. So what I do want to try is I want to try one of their neons. I think the neons look really cool, and I want to try one of their metallics just for fun. And that's it. I mean, I guess essentially would want to match your color. You'd want to get a color that matches so it looks totally finished. I went to the extreme so you could see it on camera, but it's a cool product. I would absolutely tell you, if you're interested, use it. I don't think that you have to use it, and I'm probably not going to use it very much, but I like it. Oh, and I did this one too. I also did this one, little card holder, and this has fabric fusion on it, and this one seemed to work pretty well with the fabric fusion as well. It's a little bit smoother than my wallet, so it was nicer. I probably could have done an extra coat of fabric fusion or a base coat before I did the color, because I can see the little line in between where the cork is folded. It still looks nicer than when it was a raw edge, but I definitely could have cleaned that up a little bit. But things that you live and learn, and hopefully I can learn and then pass that on to you. So that is what I learned from doing base coats and edges and all these fun things. So I think that's it.
No, did you?
No, there's more.
Well, did you show them your purse handle when you put the? Did you already do that?
This one?
No, the one on your bag. This one where you. The stuff.
Oh, the leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's nothing to see. It just
it
it looks
work.
the same.
Okay.
Yeah, this leather conditioner. I have a pair of boots at home that I wore when we were in New York City that got some, weather stuff to it because it was raining that day. I'm going to see if these will make my leather boots look better. But for the cork, I felt like it didn't do anything. So I feel like, why do I need to do it? If it made any kind of a difference, it doesn't feel different. It doesn't look different. I can't even tell where I did it. And I didn't do the whole handle on purpose because I wanted to look back and say, oh, that's where it was and that's where it wasn't. I didn't see any difference with either of these products. So I'm going to try them out on leather because I have them, but I don't see any difference on them. So, but I think that's everything. So yeah. Just to clarify, if you are watching this video and if you're not sure, I am not going to be selling edge paint. Do not look for it on my website. If that ever changes, you will be the first to know, but it is not on there. That is why I told you where I bought everything from. I do not plan on carrying edge paint. It's just not something that I see myself getting into. Plus, I'm very leery about sending anything that has liquids in it. The glue is enough for me. I always get a little anxious mailing glue out. I would really rather not mail this out. Let somebody that's much better at that do it. Go to Buckle Guy if you want to check out all the colors. They seem to have everything in stock when I was on the website earlier this week. It's not something that you will find on Amazon or like a box store kind of thing. This is like a specialty product because it's from Italy. So I bought all of those supplies from Buckle Guy and I really liked them. But if you want to, or if you've tried out edge paint, let me know. Tell me what your thoughts are. If you have questions and I can answer them, I will absolutely answer them. I am not an expert. I've just been messing around and I can tell you what I've learned. And I think that's probably going to be it because I kind of want to call it a day.
Okay.
I know
Start your long weekend.
I'm supposed to be here till 3, but I kind of... I think I need to go home. So you guys have an awesome long weekend, and we will see you next Friday. I promise it's going to be a good one. I'm very excited about it, and if you haven't signed up for the retreat yet, I would do so as soon as possible because spots are getting really limited, and I want to send you out your personalized gifts. You may or may not get it by the time the retreat starts if you wait until next week to sign up. So that's it, and if you have any questions, let me know. Are we good?
We're good.
All right.
I don't know how to shut it off.
You hit finish on the little end. It should be down on the bottom.
On the little.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Finish.
Bye, guys.
Bye.